Welcome to the Get Out In It podcast, keeping our mental and physical well-being balanced by heading out into nature and doing stuff.
The activity isn't important. Walk, run, hike, bike, whatever it is, just find something you enjoy and get out in it. The point of this podcast is to show how ordinary people can achieve extraordinary levels of health and fitness.
Out here, we'll share informal, inclusive advice for anyone trying to improve their mental and physical well-being, based on our own experiences and professional knowledge from our special guests.
So let's lace up and get out in it.
And here we are. Welcome to episode 22. And what a week it has been. How are you, Maria Herring?
I'm very well. Thanks, James Bell. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. The week is sliding ever on. And there's plenty more to do. So what about yourself?
Oh, okay. Yeah. End of the week, which is nice. I do like Fridays. I like Fridays and I like the weekend.
Is it really the end of the week?
Like technically, yeah. But I mean, I still work on the weekends because I'm a weird kind of teacher person. But you know, it's still Friday.
Fair enough. So, as always, what have you done this week to get out in it?
Got out in it. Well, this week, getting out in it, I did my second ever Sports in the Park thing as coach, which is really, really cool. I'm still a little bit nervous when I do them, but I think it's going to be really good fun. Well, it is really, really good fun, but I think the more I do it, the less anxious and less worried about it I will become. But we found quite a nice rhythm of doing like 45 minutes of work. And then a nice kind of 15-20 minutes of yoga and relaxation and a little bit of meditation. So that's really, really nice. And the ladies who joined me for that session seem to quite like that balance of work and relaxation. So that's really, really cool.
How hard is the work? Because before you get into that, I have been to a couple of your predecessor sessions. Some have been relatively sedate. You know, I would say easy. But there was one session last year where I was struggling for about 2 days to get in and out of my car.
Yeah.
Have you taken them to that level yet?
Not yet, because it's only the second session back after the summer holidays, and nobody carried on doing any exercise or movement during the summer holidays. So I didn't want to like start the year and break everybody. So we're just building up really, really softly. We do a nice long warm up. So we warm up for a good sort of 20 minutes, like progressively getting a bit more cardio as the warm up continues, finishing with a little bit of kickboxing moves and stuff to warm up the whole body in a cardio way. And then we do a bunch of body weight training, because I thought before I start whacking in a bunch of like intense cardio and all that kind of stuff, it'd be quite nice to strengthen all of our muscular body parts first of all. So we're just doing that. So warm up, body weight training, very gentle cardio cool down, and then the yoga and relaxation. So we're building up strength first of all, and then I'll hit them with the cardio and fuck them up.
Sounds banging. I think it was some single leg squats that your predecessor had me doing that day that dealt the killing blow to my ability to get in and out of my vehicle for a day.
I don't think it was a single leg squats. I think it was it was cardio. It was pyramid section. It was mountain climbers and high knees, and it was like a pyramid of stuff. But it was really fucking intense. Yeah, Tony was an absolute bastard for a PT. Yeah. And I want everybody to like me first of all. So I'm going to get everybody to all of the ladies at the class to absolutely fall head over heels in love with me, and then I'm going to turn into an absolute bitch.
Nice. There you go.
So that was cool. And then the other main thing I did for getting out in it this week was my long run on Sunday, which was 35 Ks, which was long and quite arduous. Yeah, it took about 5 hours, 15 minutes or something to do the 35 Ks. And I think I did about 1100 meters of elevation or something, maybe nearly 1200. something like that anyway. And yeah, that was brutal. But it turned out I was doing about an hour and a half for each 10K. And if I can maintain that pace with that kind of elevation and that kind of terrain over the UTBV, I won't DNF. So
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
That's
Yeah.
the objective, isn't it?
And I did a really cool thing this week as well, because I am slightly freaking out about the distance, the 80K. It's a long distance. But what I did on Sunday was I put my watch on lap mode and I lapped myself every 10Ks, which was really cool because it meant I wasn't looking at my watch going, oh, fucking hell, it's only 7Ks and I've got to get to 35, or Jesus Christ, it's only 15Ks. I've still got 20Ks to go. Do you know what I mean? I was just getting to the next 10 and the next 10 and the next 10. So that, I think I'm going to do that for the UTBV as well, because it kind of takes the, it's not the stress, but like what's that feeling when you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it just breaks it down, doesn't it? It breaks
Yeah.
it down into digestible sections,
Yeah.
and little micro challenges within the bigger thing that you're trying to achieve. And once
Yeah.
because then you can just tick them off and you can think, right, I've done one of those. I've only got 4 more to do or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying to myself, I've only got 7 more laps to do instead of 70K to do, I think is going to be a bit better psychologically.
Yeah, too right. And taper starts next week. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'll probably be up for it after my long run this week, because this week it's 40+K for my long run. But because like during the week I haven't been doing as much running as I normally did in my pre-summer holiday schedule, I don't feel like I deserve a taper week. I don't feel like I've done enough work to warrant a taper week just yet.
No, you certainly have. With the increase in volume at the weekends, that's why we've scaled back the running in the week to allow that recovery, because that's probably one of the most important things when you're doing something like this, to be able to recover. So no, you certainly do. You certainly do. Don't worry, your taper's not going to be easy. If you look on your app, it's all in there.
Okay, I'll have a peruse.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my getting out in it. What did you do this week? No, what did you do this week to get out in it? God, that's really hard to say,
isn't it? Well, this week, I'm still building up through my rehab. I'm still my runs in the week are increasing in size and volume. My longer run at the weekend is increasing in duration. I did hills yesterday, so
nice.
I was out for 46 minutes running with 3 big hills in the middle. And at the weekend, I've got to run for an hour and 10 minutes, which I know I can do. I'm still having problems with discomfort, and every single time my foot hits the ground, I have to sort of, it's not quite there. And I find myself having moments, I think, at the moment where I'm like, when's that feeling going to go away? When am I going to, because I can feel this side of my body, I can just run on it. Don't even think about this side of my body. Every time that foot lands, there's a tension. There's a kind of a readiness for that little bit of pain that's going to come. And I'd really quite like that to go away.
It will go.
It will go, but it's been a hell of a long journey now, isn't it? May 14th, May, June, July, August, September. That's 4 months. And
you haven't stopped whinging about it.
I have not. So, onwards we go. And the recovery is coming, but it's a big one, this. So we got quite the guest. Talking about big ones, we got quite the guest this week, haven't we?
Yeah, very, very impressive lady who I was very excited to talk to. I felt like we were kindred spirits, she and I.
Yeah, we haven't had many ultra runners on so far, so it was a real pleasure to get one of Britain's ultra running professionals on, and for a chat and a hike and a shoot the breeze.
Totally was. So let's stop fucking about and hike and chat it up with Jo.
Getting into it. So this week, we are lucky enough to be joined by Jo Meek, an ultra runner and physiotherapist from the UK. Jo has most recently raced the Amazon jungle 54 kilometers in Thailand, finishing first female, the Chianti Ultra Trail 73 kilometers in Italy, finishing first female, and the Cape Wrath Ultra 8-day stage race over 400 kilometers in Scotland in 52 hours, finishing fifth overall and first female. She traveled out to France for the UTMB, but due to a bit of illness, that race was a DNF. She has a litany of other amazing results to her name over the years, with many first places, marathons, trail races, ultras, and stage races. Jo, great to have you along. How's things?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. So, yeah, hopefully I can trawl up some interesting facts and things.
I'm just pleased I got through the intro without having to do a second take. That's very rare.
You did. That was impressive. Yes, very impressive. Well done.
So, first thing I've got to ask you is we ask with every guest that comes on the podcast. I know you've been a bit sick, but the question still stands. What have you done this week to get out in it?
Oh, do you know what? I have done the most stupid thing ever. I thought I would go back to the gym on Wednesday. So I did a session. I didn't push it, but I did a normal session. I still can't sit on the toilet seat. Oh my God. My glutes. I'm sat on a cushion now. My glutes are, I literally can't bend down to do my shoes up. Can't put the dog lead on. All I go on about is my arse.
That's
so
amazing.
I have done something, but it was absolutely stupid.
Love it. I love it. For me, when I do a session like that, getting down to the toilet seat's not the problem. It's getting back up off it that's the issue I often have.
I just can't bear sitting on it. They're so tender. My arse is on fire.
That's amazing. I mean, I clearly, every time I do a strength session, I'm clearly not pushing anywhere near hard enough because
well, I don't know if it was a legacy of COVID and your body's like, we're not ready for this. I have no idea. I have never had DOMS like it. I mean, I can't do anything with it. Running downhill as your bum sort of wobbles. Oh my God. No point.
I mean, having not being an expert in these things, but having had COVID and understanding and been through that myself, I think it's very likely the COVID is amplifying those DOMs for you a little bit and just reminding you
I've never had it from the workout I've done. So I'm absolutely staggered. I mean, I've had to take painkillers because otherwise I just can't sit down.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's the I mean, obviously sorry for you, but that is the most hilarious get out in it story that we've
had. It's a shocker. I can't believe I should know better, but there you go.
So let's start with where in the world are you at the moment?
So I'm on Dartmoor where I live. So I'm at home and I worked this morning and then preserved an hour to chat to you this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. Where do you live on Dartmoor? Just out of interest, because I'm just down the road, I think.
Morton Hampstead. So
okay.
Pretty much in the middle. Yeah.
Right. Slap bang in the middle.
Yeah.
But your internet's very good. If you'd said, if someone had told me that someone from Morton Hampstead was coming on the podcast, I'd have been like, oh no.
No, we live under a wealthy. Oh, he used to live there. He doesn't live there anymore. But he invented something like fiber optic for phones for you. So I assume that when he moved in, he said to BT, we absolutely need the best phone line and internet cable. So Morton Hampstead has amazing connectivity.
That is an amazing little bit of trivia. I love that.
So I'm very grateful to him and his £1 million house kind of above us. We're a bit like borrowers. Up the hill is him and then the rest of us are underneath.
Brilliant.
So let's have a chat about this year, because as I listed those results in the intro, it's been a series of successes so far. You've had some astounding results at some far-flung races. Everything seemed to be going in the right direction. UTMB didn't go quite as well. Take us through what happened out there.
So the whole year has been building up to essentially UTMB. I wanted to do, the first race I did was in Thailand, and the reason why I chose that was essentially so we could have a bit of a holiday afterwards. So I don't tend to race that long early on in the year. I've only got so many long races in me. So the 50k seemed a good deal. And then the races built up in distance. So there was a 70k, and then I did 100k in Finland actually, which was just after Cape Wrath. And in the middle was this Cape Wrath Ultra, which was phenomenal. So everything was moving in the right direction towards the 100 miler of UTMB. But yeah, unfortunately, I got COVID. So yeah, we were due to fly out. Our flight got cancelled when we were at the airport, and Bristol airport was absolutely heaving. So I'm guessing I picked it up there. What we did then was literally jumped the car at Bristol airport and drove the 10 hours, 14 hours door to door, I suppose, from Bristol to Chamonix, recovered from that, and then race. But I just wasn't on it from the start. And the further on I got, the worse the symptoms were. And eventually I just had to bail. It was an absolutely pathetic performance. So as soon as I finished, I sort of tested because there were rumours going around, and it was positive. So I did 70 miles of the 100 miles, but it was a pretty poor performance and nothing to be proud of. But anyway,
I mean, you say that, but like 70 miles.
I know, but I was doing, I was really had high hopes. It was the first time I'd got into Courmayeur, which is essentially halfway, and my quads weren't destroyed. I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I've absolutely nailed the training. And so to be able to pick it up from Courmayeur and think, well, I actually don't feel too bad. I ate something and went out. And as soon as I started running again, literally I could have been going backwards. It was like a rewind. It was terrible. And I couldn't fathom out what was wrong. I was eating, quads felt okay. And then I thought, well, I'll get to the top of the hill. I'll walk to this hill, get to the top, and then start running again. And even then, I couldn't run on the flat. Energy was just nowhere to be found. It was mad. It was mad. But I couldn't really breathe. So I guess now looking back, it definitely looks like a respiratory problem. But there was other factors. COVID's quite confusing sometimes. But
it's a strange little illness, isn't it? I say little. I mean, it's a strange illness because people say it just feels like a cold now, but it doesn't. I've had it fairly recently, and it's like being mauled. It leaves.
Yeah, I mean, you do feel
footprints in the body.
It kept me in bed, but it certainly kept me at home. Like walking the dog once a day was enough for sure. Sleeping like 10 hours and then 3 hours in the day.
Wow.
So I was pretty wiped out from that. And as I say, I'm only just feeling a bit better now. And now I've given myself horrendous DOMs. So generally my body is like, what the hell are you playing at?
But I mean, the UTMB aside, you have had some very decent results this year. Tell us about some of those successes.
Yeah, no, I'm over the moon. So I guess the biggest one for me was the Cape Wrath, which was the 8-day stage race. It was superbly organised by Aurea Events. So you're really well looked after. You don't have to carry any of your own sort of evening meals or baggage, except the stuff you want to run with and the compulsory kit, and then obviously the fuel. So it's really doable for anyone that just wants to give a stage race a go. But it is long, super long, 8 days. I was thinking on day 6, I'm probably done by now. And then my tendons really started hurting, especially the ones at the front of the shin. And that's actually was really crippling. But I guess it was a lot of bog hopping. So for me, picking up your feet, I just wasn't used to that day in and day out. And then once I'd finished, I had this really weird body swelling. Honestly, in the photographs, there's this young Royal Marine or former Royal Marine that won the men's. And then I looked like his bloody gran next to him. It was absolutely horrendous. I mean, I know I'm double the age of him, but I literally, my face was about 80 years old and I had this really weird swelling. I could hardly see out. My husband was like, you didn't need to take any flasks with you that day. You could have just milked your eyes. It was terrible. Terrible. So, but then as I drove home, the swelling just dropped down. And by the end of the drive, it was like 18 hours door to door. My ankles were just
the biggest ankles in the world.
It was really weird. I just don't think my heart could almost cope with the amount of inflammation going around it. And it just produced so much swelling. Yeah, it was really bizarre. I'd never had that before, but I hadn't run. I mean, I've run 8 days shot, but not.
Was there an element of water retention there as well, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of it was water retention. I just don't think my body knew what to do with it all.
No.
Yeah, it was mad.
How far were you running every day then for those 8 days?
It really varied, but the most was, I'm going to say like, God, I can't really remember, like 40 to 45 miles, and the least was maybe 23 or something. I can't remember at all, but so it did vary. But it was just based on where I guess they could get the logistics. But it's really well organised.
It does sound like fun.
Fantastic, like tent life, such a laugh. I was in a tent with 8 other people, and yeah, we had such good banter. It was great.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
I'd love to do a multi-stage race. I think it would be so much fun.
yeah, it really is. I mean, everyone's in the same boat of pain and pushing, so you don't really talk about it. Although on the last day, I was like, "Have I told you how sore I am?" Like, yeah, shut up now. Not interested. But yeah, so it was brilliant. Really good memories from that. Hard, but really good. Yeah.
Amazing.
So obviously UTMB didn't go to plan. Have you got any late season races planned? Anything planned for the rest of 2023, or is it just regroup now and head towards 2024?
Yeah, a little bit of that both. So on a sideline, I want to do the 6 world majors. So the marathons, Berlin, Chicago, London, Tokyo, New York, and Boston. Years ago, I'd done London and Berlin, and last year I did Chicago. And so this year, after 6 years of trying to get into New York, we couldn't get in again. So we've paid 209 events to help us get an entry, which they have. So we're going to New York in 7 weeks. So I need to sort of turn things around and do a bit of faster running. I don't know how doable that is, but we'll see. So yeah, and then we'll have a few days out there because we've never been to the New York. So yeah, one more race. If I wasn't doing that, I probably would just tick over. And I'm really pleased it's not an ultra, so I don't have to, work too hard in terms of over and above, extra hill work and things. But I mean, marathons are pretty tough anyway. But all I can do is what I can do. So I'll just try and tap into what my pace is going to be over the next few weeks, and then just do runs at that pace and see how I go.
Nice. So is it always longer distances that you do? You're not into the 5K, 10K type stuff?
I was thinking until I gave myself these horrible DOMs of doing the park run tomorrow. So I do park runs and things like that, but I don't really race them seriously anymore. I don't really enter a 10K anymore. I might do it as part of a longer run, and there's quite a good group of fell races on Dartmoor now. So I'll do them, and they're invariably that sort of distance. But it doesn't seem like you're just punishing yourself on or what time you do. At least I could say, there's 400 meters of climbing in it. Don't ask me what time I did. Yes,
brilliant.
Way out.
Coming off UTMB fitness, which is 100-mile huge elevation gain race, and then switching to a marathon later in the year, how do you balance that training? What sort of changes do you make?
Just completely different in terms of UTMB was all about finding the maximum amount of hills, running uphill on the treadmill, smashing my quads on the way down hills, carrying load, just getting used to wearing the pack. So now all I'll do is we've got an old railway line here, and I'll just run up and down it and then try and tap into some sort of pace. Maybe do a few sessions on the treadmill, faster, flatter stuff. But I'll have to make the changeover quite slowly because otherwise my body will wonder what the hell I'm doing. So, I mean, to just be able to go for a run pain-free at the moment would be amazing. At the moment, I can't. But hopefully in the next 2 or 3 days, my arse cheeks will give me a break. I'll be able to do that. And then next week, so there was a bit of a kink in the system. Next week, I should probably be building up a few more miles. But I'm actually going to, every September, I do a cycle trip. So I'm going to do that next week just for well, it's a bit ridiculous really because I don't cycle that much, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch a train to Kent, and then I'm going to cycle from Kent to Weston-super-Mare overnight.
Blimey.
Yeah, cool. I thought that would be a good adventure.
Dissect the country. Is that, are you going to go coast to coast basically?
Yeah. I thought I'd just cycle across the country.
Why not?
Nice.
Why not?
Exactly. In
Very
the dark. Good. So I don't get too overwhelmed with the traffic, and then I'll come out and then I'll start running properly.
That's a nice bit of cross training though. Huge distance of cycling.
I know. Normally I do, like, I've got a friend and we do maybe 2 or 3 days of cycling, so a route from A to B, like we've done the North Coast 500, and there's a route called the Badgers Divide, so Glasgow to Inverness and stuff. But we're sort of running out of time this year, so I said there's actually an event in June that does this distance, so I've managed to get the GPX file. I'm just gonna copy what they do.
Nice.
Smash fest. Love it. So
that'll be next week. I'll still be complaining my arse hurts, but for different reasons.
Yeah. DOMs to saddle sores.
Will you go into the marathon you're gonna do with a time expectation, an idea of what you'd like to get out of yourself?
Yeah, I think so, because by then I should have tapped into a certain pace. I mean, I'm hoping to do ultimately all the marathons under 3 hours. In Chicago I gave it 6 weeks of training, so I did exactly the same thing. 6 weeks training and I did 2:57. So I imagine it's going to be similar. I'm not hoping I'm suddenly more brilliant. I think I'd need probably a bit longer, 12 weeks of training, and probably more consistency at banging out faster stuff. So we'll see. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But can we talk about ultra running? Because I love ultra running. It's that's my favorite thing in all the world, trails and ultras. So what was it that brought you to ultra running in the first place?
So I'd always wanted to do the Marathon des Sables, and we thought the way we thought it used to work was that you did all your fast stuff and then you moved on to ultras because you were getting slower. What people do now is mix it up, which is great. But so it came to me thinking, well, I'm not going to run a faster marathon anymore. Let's bite the bullet and do the Marathon des Sables. My husband wanted to do it as well, so we saved up, got in, did it, and I loved it. And it opened up a world of races I'd never heard about, and it's just rolled on and on and on. So that was in 2013 or 2014. So it's nearly 10 years now of racing this stuff, and I'm still finding races that I want to do. Yeah, it's been phenomenal. It's been completely different. I mean, as I said, I've thrown the odd marathon in there, but it's never any more about what time did you do. It's just where have you been and was it good? And yeah, they're just such different questions. And the training's just as hard, but slightly more enjoyable because it's not so relentless about pace or what your watch says. And I quite like that. It does take the pressure off. I actually think it gives you a bit more longevity because mentally you're not so exhausted. Marathon training was brutal. I still think it's the hardest thing, the marathon distance, to get it right on the day as well. So yeah, the Marathon des Sables kicked it off. And then after that, I just selected races where I wanted to go each year, choosing a sort of different country, if you like. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, because I've always been, I love ultras. Well, the most I've ever done is 55 Ks for the moment. The shortest distance I've ever done is half marathon.
Right.
I'm scared about doing a road marathon, and it's because of the pace. Because like when I was training for the Bristol half, that was quite intense training.
Yeah.
Far less enjoyable than the trail running I'd done for the ultra trail.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never done a road marathon because I'm genuinely too scared of maintaining
No, they are.
that
They're
pace.
really, I still think they are the hardest thing. The people that can execute them and maintain that relentless pace, mile after mile, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. It's definitely like I'm really, really fit, but my system isn't used to the same pace the whole time. And I remember after Chicago, oh, my body was absolutely battered, and yet I'd only run for 3 hours. And yet I could go out now and run across Dartmoor, which is a marathon, and it take me 4 hours, and I'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
I was just going to say, I used to do a lot of road running as well, and I find psychologically trail running is a lot easier because it allows me those days where I might be having an off day, but I don't beat myself up because the pace isn't breathing down my neck and telling me I'm having an off day. I don't really notice it. I still go and have a good solid training session. Don't consider it an off day. Whereas when I used to run on the roads, it was I could capitulate based on not seeing the pace I was used to seeing, and either call it a day or just have a really bad day.
Yeah, no, it's exactly true. The hardest thing to move to ultra running and trail running was people, because when you're marathon running, it's all about how many miles you do a week, really. I mean, that is less so now, but it was then very much, oh, you're doing 100 miles a week. And now it's how much elevation you're getting in a week. Yeah. So it's completely different, which is nice. It breaks it up a bit. Yeah. So no, it's been good. So since Marathon des Sables, so I did reasonably well in that. And then, yeah, it opened up a world of races, and I bounced from one to the other, and I've had an absolute ball along the way. It's been amazing.
Nice. What's your favorite, your most favorite trail?
I mean, I have like favorite races because they're beautiful, and then I have favorite races because I've done really well on them, and you sort of remember them with like rose-colored glasses. So I did a stage race in Costa Rica, which I did well on, but it was absolutely beautiful. So up there is that one. And then things like one half of the UTMB course is called the CCC. It starts in Courmayeur and ends in Chamonix. It's 100K. And I came second in that one year. It was really hard, but my memories are so fantastic of that finish line. That's right up there as well. So I have different recollections of different races for different reasons. There's not really a trail race I've done that I thought, oh God, that was hideous. At the time you're thinking, I feel sick, this is not great, but the trail itself is stunning. So I've been pretty lucky.
I think this is the thing with training and also doing the races, the events. Even though you're doing crazy long distances and mad climbs and your legs are burning, all you need to do is look up and out and you see the amazing views, and all of that pain and everything, it just goes away. Kind of makes it all worth it.
It sort of does. I have a very bad habit of when I race of not looking up and just like I can't really remember where I've been. So it's good for me to sometimes recce a course because then I can see it and then race it. I mean, that only happens really in the Chamonix race, but I'm not brilliant at looking around. I'm too much of a road runner through and through. So I just want to race. And it's really hard to shed that because people are like, should lighten up and not be so intense. And I just can't help it. I love racing as well.
Then you can just point at your list of first places and be like, do I really need to lighten up?
I mean, there is that. I'm certainly proud of some of the stuff I've done. So yeah, no, it's good. It is really good. And then it's about this time also that you start planning for next year, which seems ridiculous, but actually a lot of races get full if you don't enter. And then because it's such a long way, I mean, some people can string long races together, but I can't. I need the recovery now. So I have to work backwards, maybe the main race, and then work backwards to what I want to fit in. So yeah, beginning to think about next year, which is exciting.
What do you think your A race for next year will be?
Well, initially I was like, I'm going to have to go back to UTMB. But when I won Cape Wrath, my first prize was an entry into Dragon's Back stage race.
Ooh.
And I've just seen that finish following it through social media, and it looks absolutely fantastic. To turn that down, I think I'll be an utter fool. So I think I'm going to have to do that. But they're the same time, so I can't do both.
Can't do both.
No. So I think I'm going to go for Dragon's Back and get the experience, because you never know when that. I mean, I have done UTMB before. It's not like I never finished it. Yeah, so we'll see. But I think it'll probably Dragon's Back. And then in the build up to that, I'll travel up to Wales and get some hilly runs in. And I led someone through a Paddy Buckley round this year. So maybe I'll have a go at one of them in the build up to Dragon's Back. So make it a bit of a Welsh year.
Nice.
Very cool. Life is a series of experiences, isn't it? And Dragon's Back would be one hell of those.
Oh, it looked fantastic. It looked just, brilliant. I do love a stage race. So, So I think that will be the main thing for next year. I've also applied to Boston Marathon and Tokyo, whether I get in or not. But if I do, that will be the first half of the year with that. So keep the marathon training going and then swap to the mountains.
Wow, that's very impressive.
We'll see. Yeah.
You mentioned not being able to string long races together at the moment because you need that recovery. Obviously, that happens to us all as we start to advance in age. All three of us on this podcast are of a similar age. Obviously, it's time to hang it up, isn't it? Because you can't do endurance racing forever. Topic.
I mean, there is an element of recovery required, but if I think about it literally, like 8 days doing a stage race in Cape Wrath, I could string 8 days together, but then I needed to respect the recovery afterwards. So it's not like I can't string the days together, but if you do it too much, too regularly, then obviously it's going to catch up with you. So I'm very good now at training hard, but really respecting the recovery. My husband jokes I'm a bit like a dormouse because I will pretty much nap every opportunity I can. But for me, that's like the perfect way. Half an hour nap, and then I'm like the Duracell bunny and up and off again. I don't really do 2 runs a day anymore. I might do 2 things a day, but not really 2 runs. Whereas marathon training, I used to do that all the time. So I have changed training a lot. I don't obviously run as many miles as I used to do, but actually sometimes when you add in the elevation and Naismith's rule, I suppose it does come sometimes quite close. But I'd say naturally, I know what mileage I can sit at and not get injured. And then if if it is Christmas and you've got loads of other late nights and stuff going on, I'll have to dial it back a bit. So I just know my body well enough, but there's absolutely no way I'm giving up. I mean, I know everyone, in their head, we still feel sort of 20s or 30s, but I still feel like I can do it. It sometimes it is a bit of a shock when you realize you can't actually push out the pace you want to. And you think, well, that does knock off. And that really, for me, dropped off when I was about 42. I definitely couldn't just push into those paces. But speaking to other people, that's quite a similar age. It's a bit like at 47, most people begin to get spectacles. So, there is a certain age for things, I guess, like VO2 max and cardiac output to drop off. And I have noticed that. But, as long as I'm not injured and I'm still enjoying it, the good thing about ultras is that it does allow people who are older to keep going, because we have that mental endurance to push through, which I think is pretty good. So I'm not stopping, and age isn't getting in the way at all. So
that's really cool, because I started running only a couple of years ago. So I was 42 when I started running.
Yeah.
And I mean, my close friends and family who know me, I was always out and about. I loved hiking. I loved being outdoors. So I was always quite active, but I just never ran.
Yeah.
But when I started telling people that I run, and my first race was an ultra, I didn't start small distance and work up. I went straight to the big distance, which was quite cool. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, be careful. You're not getting any younger."
I know. And people say, oh, you'll wear your knees out. But what studies have shown is that runners have thicker cartilage than non-runners, because, the cartilage is adapting to the loading response. So there's nothing against running. A lot of my patients, I'm like, 2 weeks' time, I'm going to treat this chap who's 75 and he's going for the Great South Run for his age group. So I think if your body's used to it and you're progressive with it, there's quite a lot of longevity in the sport. Ultimately, obviously, it depends what you want out of it. But I think it can go on, which is great. And you just balance it up. A lot of the elite female marathon runners now were doing too many miles and then breaking down. So they balance it up with a lot more cross training than previous marathoners used to do. So that's quite interesting. It just shows finding that balance of what suits you and your life, really. But there's no need to stop. And obviously, if you've only just started, in theory, you're quite fresh. So you've got much more capacity than other people that have been going for longer.
That's what James says.
Athletic age of a toddler.
And he says it's because of that. That's why I haven't had any injuries yet. Whereas James is always breaking.
I have been doing triathlon since I was 13 years old, and now do ultra running, and I'm held together with sticky tape.
I mean, I must admit, if I stop for too long, so 10 days is probably my limit of resting, I will fall apart. Everything will hurt. So I do have to keep going in some form now.
That's really funny, because I always get, if I'm not doing, as well as doing running, I do yoga and other bits and pieces. And if there's something like the school holidays or something like that that kind of breaks into my training, I get back pain.
Yeah.
Like, I only get pain if I'm not doing stuff. It's weird.
Yeah. No, it is a thing. I definitely need to keep going. But I don't mind it now. I used to sort of squeeze running into a routine, get up at 5, run, go to work, come back and run. But now it's like, actually, no, this is like a major part of my life. So I'm going to allow room for it. So I don't really start work much before 10 anymore. And
nice.
So that is one of the other benefit of getting a bit older. You can fit it in, but in a way that you can respect it as well. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So being a physiotherapist who sees all kinds of people, what do you think it is about sports as we get older that make people think that it is less of a benefit than it is? It's more likely to lead to injury. You're too old for that. You can't do that anymore.
I don't know.
What is it about the world?
I don't know. I literally think it's a Western problem, a Western approach, because and mindset. At what age do adults stop sitting on the floor when they want to watch TV or something? I mean, I'm a floor sitter, so it's always a real thing for me. I'd much rather sit on the floor than sit on the sofa. But what age do adults stop doing that and think, well, you can't do that? It's literally, I think it's a social etiquette thing. Like, it's not, it's almost unbecoming for someone older to push their body and become really sweaty. And yeah, and definitely more for women than for men. I just think people need to change their mindset on that. You know, we spend a fortune on having your hair done or your nails done. I mean, I say we, I obviously don't, but then but no one is going to look after themselves internally. It always staggers. I always get staggered by how people will say, well, I'm going to have a treat. I'm going to, you know, go to the hairdresser or have a manicure. And I'm like, well, I'm going to run across Dartmoor. Well, what's the difference? If you enjoy it, that's, you know, but people look at you like you're mad.
Absolutely. And it's I find it staggering as well that so many people will spend, men and women will spend quite a lot of money on the kind of superficial thing
Exactly.
to kind of recuperate youth or whatever.
Yeah.
But like just do some sports or do movements, do an activity, and it's kind of free, and it will kind of rejuvenate you. And
exactly, yeah, no, it completely will. I think and I understand that not everyone wants to run completely, but you could swim or play a netball or, you know, do team sport. It doesn't
Find
have
what you
to be
enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. But what we know is moving is crucial. So, you know, people are moving less, and it's really detrimental. So, I mean, I don't see that many people. So the people I treat tend to be pretty athletic in the first place. So I guess success breeds success on that. You know, I have a background of working in the military and working at elite sport. And I'm also a runner, and runners like to be treated by runners. What you see one runner and then it spreads through that community. So I don't tend to see people that have literally come to me because they, you know, they're struggling, their knees sore because they're not moving. I see a few because I work at a clinic in Exeter and I work at home, and the clinic in Exeter will throw open my diary to anyone. So I do see a few people like that, but mainly I do tend to see quite active people. So my bias is that a lot of people are exercising, but in reality they're probably not. You know, I'm probably seeing 10% of the local population.
We were talking about this interview last night and deciding what we were going to talk about, and we came to a bit of a stalemate, an argument on this topic, because your perspective, Maria, was that a lot of people that just aren't educated in how beneficial exercise can be for you and how it's not going to destroy your knees if you go running, as long as you go about it in the right way, or you find a sport that works for you. Whereas I was saying, I have a feeling a lot of people use that as an excuse to not put themselves in a position to do something they think is going to be uncomfortable. You know, it's like, oh, it's bad for your knees, but secretly knowing it's probably not. I just don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be out of my comfort zone.
I think you've definitely got a mix of both. People are inherently lazy, and actually, you know, it's the same for everyone. Getting out the door is the hardest thing, but if it becomes part of your routine, like brushing your teeth, you will do it. It has to become part of your routine. It can't just be, oh, I'll start next week and hope for the best. And it is really hard work in that respect. But I think the rewards are, phenomenal. I mean, meeting people, just feeling better about yourself, and obviously taking a little bit of pressure off the NHS, because, you know, people will want something. You know, they'll come in and I'll say, look, I am quite a hands-on physio, so I'll treat you, but ultimately it's not what I do for 20 minutes now is nothing compared to what you can do for 20 minutes every day. But they, you know, they look at you like, well, I don't really want to do it. I want to pay someone to make me better. I really struggle with those types of people. I sometimes have to say, I don't think this is the relationship it's going to work. So yeah, but it's it's interesting. I mean, that's the battle, isn't it? I think more and more people know exercise is good. They don't know how good it is. But it's just persuading them to get up and do it, really.
I also wondered, James and I were talking about this last night, I also wondered if it's not because here in the West, we do tend to think that once people, and I'm kind of thinking from a female perspective because I'm perimenopausal at the moment, when you get to a certain age in our society in the West, you're kind of, well, that's it, life's over for you. You're too old. You can't start a new thing. You're not useful to society anymore. We kind of hide our old people away.
Yeah, no, we do. We're not very good we don't have a community based around them at all, do we?
No.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think like I just don't view women like that at all. So it doesn't even cross my mind to think that they can't. I guess on social media, I mean, I find it frustrating, but one of the good things is I only follow people that tend to really inspire me, and there's some phenomenal women out there that do crazy things, like run around the world on their own. I mean, it's so brave, and I I mean, I don't feel I want to do that because I absolutely love where I live and I'd miss my dog and my husband. But
I love how the dog got first mention there, though.
Obviously, he knows that. Yeah. But there are some people that are doing incredibly brave things, and I always look to them. So in my mind, I know there's always people doing much more exceptional things than me, and I don't tend to then look behind me, if you see what I mean, and realize that there are people that aren't doing exceptional things. Just because I feel I want to be inspired, not full of negative thoughts on what the rest of society's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. But as a woman who is, for myself, who's perimenopausal, I'm on HRT now. It took a while for the doctors to come to the diagnosis because the symptoms started like when I was in my late 30s, but all the doctors over here, I live in France, were like, you're too young, so it's not that. Bye. It was very unhelpful. But then I changed doctors and he's been brilliant. And so we've realized that it is early onset menopause. I'm on HRT, so that's really, really cool. Do I need to be careful as a menopausal woman doing endurance stuff and long distance stuff and kind of pushing my body to limits like that?
No, not at all. In fact, obviously there's a whole plethora of research that says exercise is, especially running, is absolutely vital, because if you're losing your estrogen, in theory, you're losing your bone density. And so running, we know, will reinvigorate that. Weightlifting, heavy weights as well, really heavy weights. So there's some great studies of 80-year-olds lifting proper heavy weights to keep their tendons healthy and their bone density up. So no, absolutely not. There's nothing. I mean, you might feel shit and not want to do it, but that's just an excuse,
Yeah.
Ultimately for your body, it's a great thing to do. I treat a lot of people, elderly people that have osteoporosis, osteopenia, and I'm like, right, we need to start doing a weightlifting program. But also, unfortunately, athletes that have been anorexic and now they're not, but as a result, their bone density isn't great. And I'm like, right, we've got to keep you going. All points to targeting the hormonal system through weight bearing exercise to stimulate that. So
brilliant.
No, you've got to keep going, that's for sure.
Love that. That's exactly the answer I wanted. Apart from the strength training. It's not my jam. It's really not my jam. I do it, but super grudgingly.
I love it and I advocate
it. You do. Always banging on about it.
Brilliant. No, it's good. I mean, you again, if you don't enjoy it, unfortunately, there are some aspects to training that no one enjoys, and you just got to do it once, twice.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
I think when it comes to like for people like me and my friends who I hike with or do HIIT sessions with, we're not doing it because we suddenly want to become pro athletes and win these amazing competitions. We're doing it because we suddenly realized, holy shit, we're in our 40s and we're much closer to death, and we don't particularly want to die early or of some disease, a lifestyle disease. So we're kind of coming into a much more active lifestyle a little bit later on. But, the number of people who said, oh, you've got to be so careful. And so it's really nice to hear from professionals that actually know it's better for you. You need to do it, and it will keep you stronger.
Yeah. There's nothing really we need to be careful of, to be honest. I think age comes, okay, a little bit more caution, but with age comes a bit more respect for the body as well. So when you're younger, you just push it and break down. When you're older, you push it but don't break down because you have that respect. So I think it's a good balance.
I'm still breaking down, just for reference. I pushed it when I was younger and broke down, and now I'm not pushing it when I'm older and I'm still breaking down.
I must admit, when I treat like former rugby players and they're like, yeah, I hurt my shoulder when I was 18 doing this, I'm like, yeah, there's no hope. Yeah, just accept that now. You have absolutely battered your body.
My goodness, yeah.
But no, I think exercise is a way of life. I don't really preach to my patients. It's up to them. I don't feel I'm in a position to say do this or do that. I just say, what do you want to get out of this appointment? And most of it's, well, I want to achieve this goal, but I've got this pain, so we just work towards it. But I don't ever feel it's up to me to say, right, you've got to lose weight or you've got to put on weight or whatever. I just accept what they're telling me. Yeah, but it's good. I absolutely love my job, that's for sure.
That's nice. Yeah, it's a shame though that there are so many people out there. I don't know. I've never counted, but it's a shame that people don't love being outdoors and being active as
I
much as
know.
I do, because it's so much fun out there. It upsets me that people just don't want to go outdoors and run through forests or swim through lakes, or do you know what I mean? It's
I
like,
know,
how
they'd
do you
rather
not
go
want to?
shopping or something. But
Yeah, or just stay in and watch TV all night, and it just feels like a huge waste of time.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, during lockdown, we basically had Dartmoor to ourselves. It was great.
Yes, it was.
But that was
It were very
amazing.
quiet roads for those bike rides, eh?
Yeah, it was fantastic because they're like you can exercise, for an hour if you go from home. And we were like, well, no one's going to know if we're an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours because we
Yeah.
work from home. We just go out all day. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I had the same thing in the forests just behind my house where I live. And it was the same thing in the big city in Lyon there where because you could go out for an hour, but you couldn't go more than a kilometer from your house
Yeah.
while we were in lockdown. So in Lyon, they had like the gendarmes making sure that they were stopping people, checking their certificates and all that kind of stuff. But in the forests up here, no one.
No,
Like you could just go
just go.
out, wander around for ages. It was
Yeah,
super
it's brilliant.
cool.
Yeah, it was
I felt
brilliant.
quite rebellious, going further than my house and also being out for more than an hour.
Yeah, well, we've got a great map of Dartmoor on our wall with all the stuff we did over lockdown. It was brilliant.
Oh,
We ran around
nice.
it, we ran across it, north, south, south, north, all the old routes that people did in the olden days. And yeah, it was brilliant.
That's
Really well
evidence. If they
done.
ever come for you, that's evidence. You know that, don't
I know, yeah, it is. I'd say it was done more recently.
you?
Oh, that's brilliant.
So people are listening to this. If someone's listening to this and they are, of a similar generation to us, but they want to get active, they want to start doing something, where would you suggest they start? Is it going down the gym and just walking on a treadmill, or is it trying to find something that you
No,
truly enjoy?
I honestly think it's something that there must be a seed that's sown of something they'll enjoy. So if someone says to them netball, and they're like, nah. If someone says to them rowing, I don't know, it has to be something that would motivate them and then go from there. So because if the interest is not there in the first place, and for some people, don't get me wrong, the interest is not running, but the idea of running a marathon or a 5K is an interest, then that's, or maybe they've got a local race that they thought every year I'd quite like to have a go at that. But you need to have a goal. And so I think if you can find your goal first, then the process will happen to build up to it, because you'll put the wheels in motion. People are good at planning. We know that at Christmas you have to have bought so many presents and done the house, decorated the house and bought a tree and got the right food. So they prepare back financially or whatever, 8 weeks before or something, or probably longer, I don't know, they start preparing. It would be no different. So people know how to plan, but they just don't know it in association with sport. If they just find their goal and work backwards, and there's so many ideas on the internet now, like Runner's World, couch to 5K or build up to a marathon, that you can just pluck it off that and follow it, and it's done. You don't have to guess. So as long as you find what motivates you, then I think it's easier. It's not straightforward, but it's easier.
Yeah, because I think the goal can be anything. I mean, because for me it was like, don't die of cancer. That was my kind of big goal, because there's a lot of cancer in my family, and it got to a point where I was like, shitting bricks, because I was thinking, oh my God, like so that was my kind of overarching goal: don't die of cancer. And then kind of finding different outdoor things that I enjoyed more than hiking, that could kind of help me become fitter and healthier and avoid those kind of lifestyle cancers that other women in my family were getting. So it doesn't have to be a goal like run the London Marathon, or
no. And it also equally, it could be an aesthetic goal. People like, well, I do want to lose some weight, or I want to develop, I want to be able to squat my body weight. It can be anything, but you do have to have a goal.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I think once you've started that process as well, even if it's an aesthetic goal, like I want to lose a stone, or I want to do a mad squat or whatever, I think if you find the thing that you love that you didn't realize that you love, because I always hated running before 2 years ago.
Right.
Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Now I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah, and it will lead you down a rabbit hole of something else you'll enjoy.
Exactly.
So, yeah, definitely. No, it's finding the goal. And then, I mean, for me now, running so routine, if you take it away, I've lost something for sure. I can't imagine, I've been running for so long now, I can't imagine a life without it. So when people say, do you struggle with motivation? No, I don't, because I don't know anything else, but it's been a long time. I'll still struggle with motivation on the days it's freezing or I've got to push my body or I know it's going to hurt. But ultimately, they're few and far between when you look at the big picture. So it's, people, I guess, are a bit scared of the unknown, but equally, you can really embrace it. And I think you'll be rewarded.
Yeah, I think once you find out just how far you can push your body without like breaking it, but how much it's capable of, it's quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it's phenomenal what people can do. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, all the people that string marathons back to back. I mean, there was that guy that did a marathon a day for a year and he had a full-time job. It's phenomenal. He just got up.
Yeah.
He was just a regular guy.
Just got up early, didn't he?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, that is so inspiring because I thought, well, yeah, I could do a marathon a day, but I'd want a nap, and that would then take out the majority of the day, So it's absolutely incredible what people.
That's extraordinary. Yeah, I do my long run on a Sunday and I come home, eat all the food, and then sleep until bedtime and then go back to bed again.
Exactly. But that you are entitled to have that luxury because you worked hard for it. So
thanks very much, Jo.
And some people never experience that endorphin rush, that exercise can bring you and brings you very, very early on. As soon as you've decided to start moving and giving yourself a goal, it's very quick that you start to get that sort of buzz from whenever you've completed whatever training you're doing to get to where you want to be.
But I also think people think it gets easier, but it doesn't. You just get better at it. It never gets easier because people say it must be really easy for you to do that. No, because I want to do it at this pace now. So it's not easier. So there is a thing that, I'll start running and then it will be easy. It never is. So you have to accept that. It's always a bit of a battle.
It's an old Greg LeMond quote, isn't it? It never gets easier. You just get faster.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
But that's nice though, because I think once you've started, well, we're talking about running, but once you've started and you see that you can go a little bit further and then a little bit further, excuse me, and then maybe sometimes a little bit faster, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And you celebrate that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. It is really rewarding, but I'm biased, obviously.
Yeah, I think probably all three of us are a little bit towards running because I love running and I love trail running and I'm very excited about the ultra trail that I've got coming up a little bit later. Oh, it's about 4 weeks. Oh, it's quite close. Yeah, it's about 4 weeks.
Brilliant. Which one?
Oh, that's really cool.
3 weeks.
It's the ultra trail in the Beaujolais Vert. It's the longest one I will have done. It's 80k this time.
Okay. 50 miles.
So I'm quite excited about that one. And it'll be solo because James is still rehabbing an injury, so he won't be able to do it with me. So it's going to be my first ever solo ultra.
I'll be there on a bike crewing, going from road crossing to road crossing. But yeah, I'm coming out the back of a hip injury, so I'm running at about 10k at max at the moment.
Okay, well, at least you're making progress. Yeah, it's so frustrating to be injured. But
it's been diabolical. The last 2 years, I broke my ankle in January 2022, and then that cascaded into a hip injury because of an imbalance. And it's just been 2 years of frustrations. But let's not talk about me.
Yeah, that's hideous. No, it's still hideous. I do empathise. God.
So talking about setting goals and putting goals in place, I've got your list of results and past races in front of me, which is gargantuan.
Yes,
so many different races, so many amazing achievements. Yeah. How do you set yourself goals now? Is there something you're still focused on that you want to achieve, or do you just start each year afresh and think, where do I want to go? What do I want to see this year?
Yeah, a lot of it is where I want to go, for sure. I think every year I'm going to choose a different country to travel to. Sometimes the race might be more close to home, but I love the idea of an A to B. So generally it's about, because if the race doesn't inspire me, I won't train that hard for it. Like I'm not enthused about it. So, and then out of that, my ego probably says, right, let's try go for top 3. But what I'm beginning to realize is I might have to respect my age a little bit more and accept that I'm racing against people of my age, which was apparent at UTMB. I mean, I had a long time to think about this. I wanted a top 10 at UTMB and I might have got in there, I don't know, but ultimately I was leading my age group. And so that I should be happy with that. And at the moment, I'm just merging between the two. I haven't quite fully accepted.
Jo, you say that, Amazon jungle 54 kilometers first place. Italy
know,
73 kilometers first place. Cape Wrath stage race first place.
I know, but I mean, I'm not putting myself down, but they're not the most competitive fields, if you know what I mean. Whereas UTMB was super competitive, and I was hoping for a top 10. Whether that would happen or not, I don't know. So that's the difference. Top 10 or first by a couple of hours. It's mad, but yeah, don't get me wrong. I maybe the psychologically, I pick the races that are a bit random because I know that no one else will turn up, but I don't think I think it's just because they're in beautiful places.
For me, it's all about beautiful places now.
Yeah, I think it is. I really do. For me, it's I don't really like holidaying, but because I live in a place I don't need to holiday from on the whole. But I do I do love traveling with a race in mind. So
I think it's definitely the best way to plan a holiday.
Yeah.
Is where is there an awesome race? Let's go there.
Yeah. Then you can chill. So.
I see on this list you did in 2014, you did the Le Grand Trail de Saint-Jacques.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It was a phenomenal race for me. I ran it so fast. Looking back, I don't even know how that happened. I was third overall. It was phenomenal. And it was, it was amazing. I didn't have any expectations of that race. And that's often the way, the ones you don't expect to do well and you do. But I've got really fond memories of that. And I was obviously in my prime because I'd just done Marathon des Sables, done well. And I was just getting into the whole scene. And I just picked up a sponsor. So Scott sponsored me and they were hosting that race. So that's why I went over for it. And it was great. Really worth doing.
Yeah, we were thinking, was it last year or was it this year that we were going to do it? But a year before. Because it's not too far from where I live. I live in Lyon.
Yeah.
And so it's in it passes the region where I live. So that's why we wanted to do it. But yeah, we couldn't because James broke.
Was it me?
It's not going anywhere.
It's always you.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, that one. I don't think. It was a sudden shutdown of flights from the UK due to COVID. It was the second, when everything opened up again and they shut everything down again for that end of that year. That's why I couldn't get out there.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's not going anywhere. Bear it in mind. No. It is a good one to do.
Yeah, they got so many trail races and so many ultras here in France. We're so spoiled for choice.
I know, but the frustrating thing about French races is you need a medical certificate.
You absolutely do. Yeah.
Very good at forging them now.
I have a friendly GP.
Oh yeah, you see, I need a friendly GP.
Yeah, my GP knows me quite well now. I have to see them next week to get my medical cert for
such a nightmare over here getting them.
It's a massive ball ache. It's so annoying. And I can kind of understand for like the super long distance races. But like, even if you're just doing I did a 10K
That's why they haven't
race.
got parkrun over there.
That's exactly why.
We've discussed this. Yeah. But why is it a nightmare? I mean, for me, I take my form into my GP and they stamp it.
No, they charge.
Mine doesn't.
£50, so.
Oh really?
Oh god.
That's because yours is a friendly GP.
Oh okay.
Yeah, it's really variable, and they're like, "Well, this proves you're fit for now, here and now. It doesn't prove you're fit in 6 weeks' time." I'm like, "Just give me the certificate."
Yeah, just give me the damn certificate.
Yeah, I did a 10K last Friday, which isn't super long distance, and I still had to give a medical certificate for that.
Yeah, it's mad.
We discussed this on last week's podcast with the guests we had on, because I think it's a real barrier to entry for people, because people who are on the people we're discussing now who are like, oh, you know what? I think I need to start getting fit. I might enter a race. They find out they've got to get a medical certificate, whether they're French or British. And, that is a real, it's this instant psychological blow. And you're like, oh, I've got to go and somebody's got to have a look at me and tell me whether I'm fit enough to do this. But a lot of people don't want to hear that.
You can go for a run and you don't need that. So I don't really understand. I guess it's legacy, not legacy. It's they don't want to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Responsible.
Liable.
Yeah.
Liable.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, all you need to do is like have all of us sign a little waiver, say, if I die of a heart attack, I'm not going to sue the race organisers. Do you know what I mean?
That's what we do.
It's not complicated. Yeah. So it is very, very strange. I remember the first time I had to get a medical certificate for the first ultra trail I did a couple of years ago. My normal GP wasn't around, so I had a locum, and she thought she heard a heart murmur, so she wouldn't sign my thingy. And she said I had to go and see a cardiologist. I was so upset, but like angry upset. And I had to go and find a cardiologist. And like, it's really hard to find those specialist doctors over here. But for some reason, I managed to find one in time.
You had 2 days. You'd left your medical certificate so late. You had 2 days before the race start. And you managed to pull a cardiologist out of somewhere.
That's amazing.
Get them to sign.
I mean, I did have to travel for an hour to get to this dude. But then I got to him and he did all the things and he was like, I don't know why that doctor sent you here. There is nothing wrong with your heart. And it cost like 160 euros. And I was like, oh, it was very annoying.
Expensive race, that one. Expensive race. So, Jo, we're looking at your next event is going to be that marathon. You're going to go sub 3. What happens after that? Do you have an off season or do you just roll into the next year?
Probably just roll through. Little bit less pressure because the next race probably wouldn't then be till. So I'll do the local cross country, which is like 6K. So there's a season of cross country running, and I'll do that. And then just train and enjoy it, and then pick up racing in whenever it would be March. I think Tokyo is if I get in, or April if I get into Boston. So
very nice.
Cool.
Yeah, enjoying it.
Exciting year ahead then.
So yeah, I do try and make it that way, but takes a bit of organising, but I am super organised, so at least that's.
Oh, you're so lucky. I'd love to be organised. What does that feel like?
Yeah, I'm annoyingly organised. I'm very much a list person.
Oh my goodness.
I love a list.
Brilliant.
So we really appreciate you coming on and having a chat with us. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No pleasure.
We've got to the most important part of the podcast, which is where we ask every guest who comes on to put a song on our playlist, something you train to, race to, use to inspire you, or just generally enjoy. So welcome to being on the spot. And if you could summon up a song, we'd appreciate it.
Well, do you know what? I never really listen to music. I'm absolutely terrible. I did try and create a playlist for UTMB because I thought maybe when the shit hit the fan, I could just detach my mind by listening to some music. So more recently, I have started adding stuff, and I've suddenly realised I actually just generally quite like normal pop music. The first thing that comes into my head is going to be Kate Bush Running Up That Hill. I think I'm going to add that one in.
Nice.
It is quite evocative. It really kind of gets you going. So I'm going to add that one to it.
That's cool, because I do like when I'm out training. I'm getting better now. I don't always bring my headphones when I go out training, so that's quite cool. But when I do listen to music, I do like it if the lyrics somehow match what I'm doing.
Cadence,
yeah. And if the lyrics fit, so Running Up That Hill's perfect.
I think it sort of gives you goosebumps, and that kind of inspires you to push on. So that would be my.
Nice.
It's
validated. Love that one.
Good song. Kate Bush is a hero.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with the marathon to come, and good luck with the rest of the year and rolling into next year. We'll keep an eye on what you're up to.
Thank you, and good luck with your hip injury. I hope that you knock on the head this year.
Oh, I'm getting there. Thanks very much.
I'll be looking at the results.
Thank you, Jo. Yes, and I hope your bottom feels better very soon.
Yeah, ibuprofen, wonderful thing.
Brilliant. The debrief.
The emphasis was correct, I feel.
Okay.
So what do you think of Jo?
I love Jo. I am aware that I say that every single week about every single guest.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I know. But I love her because, first of all, some of those races that she's done, amazing, absolutely amazing. So she's kind of she's up there in idol status now. She's her and Mary are quite close together in idol status. But what I really loved about our conversation with Jo was the fact that she basically said, to me as a perimenopausal, I was going to say meripenopausal, but I was like, that's not right. What's a meripenopausal? No. As a perimenopausal woman, absolutely go out for super long runs and absolutely don't stop doing all of those trails and events and races and exercises and stuff. So I was really pleased with that. I mean, I figured that I had a kind of sneaky suspicion that that would be the answer, but I love that it was validated so vehemently by Jo. So yeah, that was wicked.
Absolutely. I mean, it was, if you look on her website, which the website link will be in the show notes, the list of races she's done is like it's a list of places you want to go and visit around the world.
It's basically a fucking bucket list, isn't it?
Yeah.
For trail runners. It's a trail runner bucket list.
And it's remarkable. And those races keep coming and those results keep coming. Obviously, she had a bit of a bad showing at UTMB, but that was due to illness and COVID. So, yeah, I think there'll be a lot more to come from Jo yet.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I love the fact that she is just really, really excited and enthusiastic about doing these mad challenges, these super long trails in exotic and challenging places. I think that's super cool. And the fact that chronology doesn't stop her, which is super cool. Like, I think as we get a little bit older, it shouldn't be a how can I say this without sounding like an absolute utter bitch? As we get a little bit older, it shouldn't be a reason for us to slow down and stop or do less exercise for fear of injury or breaking something or whatever. It should be an impetus to go out and do just a little bit more.
Certainly.
And maybe if necessary, change up, because I know she used to do road races before, and she's changed up to trail now because she said that her pace on the road wasn't as fast as it used to be a few years previously. So she changed up to trail. So we can do that too. If there's a sport like, I don't know, that you're doing, like tennis, that you don't want to do anymore, change it up. Do fucking, I don't know, what's like tennis? Squash. No, that's even worse. Badminton. I love badminton. Table tennis. What else is like tennis? This has turned into a weird game show. I don't know where we've gone.
But you're right, I think. Age is not and should not be a limiting factor.
No.
It should be a reason. And she's a good example of that. And as are we all, really, because we're all the same generation. So we just keep on trooping. And I think the older we get, the more important it is to do that exercise and that strength work and to get outside and enjoy yourself, because, it ain't no dress rehearsal. And the more you do, the longer you get.
And the closer you get to our age, the closer you are to death, quite frankly. So, make the most of the minute amount of time we have on this planet.
Well, that's a joyous thing. Oh. So, last week we forgot the Let's Be Honest.
Did we?
Did you know that? We completely left it out. But we normally go for a coffee before we do that. So we just got to remember to do it. So should we go and have a coffee?
Let's go and have a coffee. Yes. The weekly roast. Is that it? Whose round is it? It's not mine. I haven't got coffee.
No, I assumed you wouldn't have done. So I popped out, as always.
Oh, really? Popped out to a foreign country somewhere?
Well, no. Our guest this week was an ultra runner from my local national park, which I just live on the edge on. Mm-hmm. So I popped out to the Dartmoor Coffee Roasters, which is nice. An artisanal coffee roasters just down the road.
Have we not had coffee from there before?
No, we haven't. No.
Okay.
They've got various coffees, including a decaf from Colombia.
Who drinks decaf? What's the point in decaf? Like, if you're drinking decaf, just drink water or something. Don't fuck about with that nonsense.
But they only roast twice a week. And so I went and chose the Ethiopian Organic Kabira Lot 2, which is an organic coffee from Ethiopia.
Obviously.
As the title would lead you to believe, with tasting notes of ripe fig, lemon drizzle, milk chocolate, strawberry mousse, the yellow
Jesus.
apple,
Fucking
round,
hell.
creamy, and sweet. And I can tell you, this is one deliciously strawberry moussey coffee. I'm a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bring some of that motherfucker over to France next time you come.
I will.
That sounds
I will indeed.
lush.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd smother it in milk and latte it right up, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. It's the only way to drink coffee with oat milk in abundance.
So yeah,
Several times a day.
indeed. So yeah, the link to this coffee roasters, and they've got a shop online, will be in the show notes.
What's
And you
the
can.
the Dartmoor Coffee Roasters?
That's the one.
Dartmoor Coffee Roasters. Thanks, Dartmoor Coffee Roasters, for that delicious strawberry, moussey, chocolatey, lemony drizzle. It's all cakes.
Yeah.
Is it like lemon drizzle cake? Is that what they mean?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing.
A little bit sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had one of those in some time.
What, a lemon drizzle cake?
Yeah, I'm not sure you could veganize that, could you?
Yes, you can.
Can
I've
you?
done so. Yes, it's so easy to veganize any single cake.
Okie dokie.
I veganized lemon drizzle cake, and I bought it as a kind of when we do like potluck picnics with choir and stuff. I've often brought a lemon drizzle cake. Yeah, it's very easy to veganize.
There you go. There you go. Now, this is the point where we have to be honest, so let's not forget to do it.
All right, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. So I'm going to allow you to go first this week because we didn't do it last week. I can't remember who went first the week before. So, you better be honest about something.
Okay. So what can I be honest about? Okay, well, I suppose there's a mildly positive, let's be honest, which I've discovered on Monday after my long run on Sunday. So this week, I did 35Ks, and the week before I had done 30Ks. The Monday after my 30K, I woke up to some wicked DOMs, and I was like, fuck's sake, like I'm never going to be able to do 80Ks if I wake up the next day after 30 and can't bend properly. But then I woke up on Monday after my 35K, just gone. Guess how many DOMs I had? Zero DOMs. I had 0 DOMs, so I was quite smug about that.
That's because your muscles had gotten used to that. You'd pushed them further than they normally had, and so they were used to going a bit further. So they're like, okay, we're all right with this, because DOMs aren't a necessity for improvement. DOMs are simply when you go a bit further than you normally would, and you shock your muscles in a new and surprising way. But ultimately, if you're training with progression and progressive overload in all forms of training, then DOMs aren't something that will come every single time. Often,
no,
you
and
just
also
do something a bit more than normal.
Yeah. And I also wonder if it's because all of my other things are back now. So yoga is back now. Sports in the park is back now, although I'm leading the thingy, so I'm doing a little bit less on a Friday morning sports in the park session than I used to. But I am doing hill runs straight after, so I am still doing stuff on Friday. I'm doing strength again, grudgingly.
A bit more conditioning.
More conditioning. So I'm wondering if that was why on Monday when I woke up after my 35K, I didn't have any DOMs, because all my other classes now are back to normal scheduling after the summer break.
I mean, that certainly will play a part in terms of all body conditioning as you go through your week. The yoga is a hell of a thing to do for recovery, stretching, even just mentally. Allowing that relaxation, letting go of some of those tensions that you built up, certainly over your run or also within your working week. And then getting out and doing your sort of cardio hit session with the sports in the park people. All these things.
I wonder as well, because you've changed up my schedule a little bit. I used to have, I know my school timetable has changed as well, so that's why. But like before, I used to have quite longer runs in the week, and then my weeks would alternate between hill runs and strength. There would be one of those technical things a week, alternating.
It'd be hill runs and intervals.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, what did I say? Strength training.
Strength, yeah.
Yeah, what a twat. Anyway, So, but now I'm doing 2 sessions of that in the week. So on Tuesday I do speed and on Friday I do hills, which are shorter. They're far shorter in distance and time than what I was doing before. So is that going to have an impact
No, I
on the
mean,
DOMs?
I think possibly one of the biggest impacts in terms of flipping around your training, which is something I was advocating for a long time, but you resisted for a long time, was having Monday as a recovery day.
Mm.
You know, initially because you were so busy on a Wednesday, you had Red Wednesday as a recovery day.
Yeah.
Previously, and I'm a big fan of having finished that big run at the weekend, having Monday as a recovery, having Monday off completely, and then launching back in on Tuesday. Now because we're in a sort of taper period. You know, your actual taper is 2 weeks, but in reality, you've been building up the weekend volume, but tapering down that midweek volume for a while because of
Mm.
that. And we've had 2 recovery days in the week, one on Monday, one on Thursday, with a
Yeah.
bit of active walking if needed or hiking on
Yeah,
the
I go for a
Thursday.
hike on a yeah, I go for a hike on a Thursday, yeah.
And
But I
so
don't do
that's,
anything on a Monday. Is that all right? Like I don't even go. Well, actually I do go for a walk in the evening.
yeah, absolutely.
So I am out a little
Monday
bit,
is a
yeah.
recovery day. So, and I think that's made a big difference.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Anyway, so that's basically my let's be honest. Apart from the fact that, sucks to be back at full-time work, but that's another story. How about your let's be honest?
I am struggling a little bit. I'm struggling a little bit with, we've been doing this podcast for 22 weeks now.
Blimey.
19 of those weeks, I've been moaning about my hip.
Oh, fucking hell.
And I'm struggling a bit with I can feel it recovering because I can know I'm doing more than I used to do. And
Mm,
every run gets a bit longer or a bit easier. But the discomfort level is staying the same. I can run further to the same level of discomfort, but it's not as painful as it was obviously in the initial weeks when it was really acutely painful.
mm,
But I'm running still with this kind of hitch kind of thing, and I'm still protecting it when I run. And I've gone from my go all day comfortable pace
mm.
used to be 5:30 per kilometer. That
Okay.
was my kind of like, I could do this all day, every day.
All right. I'm just going to throw in that was my half marathon PB pace and it almost fucking killed me. But thanks. Yeah, brilliant.
But now I go out and I'm I'm not sprinting in my head, but I'm running at the sort of, right, this is about as fast as I could really comfortably go. And I'm running 6.5 minute, 7 minute Ks. And I'm struggling to get my head around it,
Mm,
where that improvement's going to come. Because I need this level of discomfort to ease so that
mm.
I don't know what it is. You'll cardiovascularly, I'm not as obviously not as fit as I was because I haven't been doing the volume of training that I have been doing. So my lungs are a little bit, but it's very strange how I'm not seeing an improvement in pace.
But didn't this happen last time? Oh, I'm really, really trying to remember our conversation with Daisy, but I remember you had this issue last time where like nothing was changing. It was always really, really, really painful, and you were getting really, really frustrated. And then all of a sudden, after a little bit, you're like, "Oh, fucking hell! I just did this thing, and I'm suddenly much, much faster." And it was almost like instead of it being like a kind of gradual um, increase in getting betterness, it's more like steps.
Yeah.
So you're like you're plateauing, but then you're kind of jumping up and then plateauing and then jumping up.
Which is
Isn't it
kind of
more
like
like
losing
that?
weight. People kind of tend to lose weight like that. You'll lose
Mm,
weight where you'll plateau, or even you'll go up a little bit and then boom, go down a little bit and steady, and then go boom, and that's
mm,
kind of, and I get that, and I'm Daisy has helped me become better at drawing a line under these bad runs that I have.
mm.
But I had one good run last week where I went and did 5K, and I felt a bit like my old self. I still
Yeah.
had the discomfort, but I went and ran a hilly sub 30-minute 5K, just negative split, felt all right. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. I'm peeing in again. And ever since that run, it's been discomfort, 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 unable to get that past, unable to find any speed. And
Yeah, but I feel
it's
I
doing
feel
my head
like
in.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of the routine now. You have a brilliant run, and that's your step up, and then you have a bunch of oh fuck's sake runs. But then your next run in, 1 or 2 days or whatever is going to be another brilliant one again. It's going to be another step up. I feel like that's been the pattern over
And
the
you're
last, well,
probably more
since you,
objective on that than
yeah,
me
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're looking at it from the outside.
I think since you started seeing um Daisy, since you started your treatment with Daisy and your rehab plan with Daisy, that's kind of been the pattern.
Mm.
Like shit, 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 step up. Shit, 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 step up.
Yeah, but the thing is, that step up I had last week, I didn't
Mm.
stay at that level. I'm now running a minute and a minute and a half a kilometer slower than that.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to run all your runs fast, are you,
I
James? You're supposed to run 80% of all your runs are supposed to be easy.
I know, but
You
my
should know
easy
that.
pace, what I'm
You're a
saying is my
coach.
go all day,
Hmm.
140 beats per minute or less pace used to
Hmm.
be 530 per kilometer.
Yeah, but that was when you weren't injured.
Yeah. Anyway, it's doing my head in, and for multiple reasons, this week's been a bit stressful, and it's just getting on top of me a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I've had a stomach bug in the week, which had me on my back for multiple issues, and it all just triggered things, and it's been a tough
I've
week.
had students this week with COVID,
You haven't got COVID, have you?
which I haven't got COVID. No, no, no. I'm fit as a flea, I am. And also I didn't teach them this week. The mum called and said, "Don't come to my house. We're full of COVID." So I didn't go to her house.
Yeah, everyone's got it at
Um,
the moment. It's coming
yeah,
back.
seems to be having
I
a
had
little
my
bit of
jab the
a
other day.
fucking out. Is that why your stomach was poorly?
No,
Maybe.
no, not associated. I had
Oh,
the
okay.
stomach issue before I went and got the jab.
Oh, okay. So yeah, 'tis the season,
It is indeed.
apparently.
And
But
I'll
not for
stop.
me. I never get sick. Huzzah.
I'll stop moaning now. It's just, the last couple of days
That's what
I've
Let's Be Honest is for.
really been struggling with the whole running along, thinking I'm just not going anywhere near as fast as I normally do, comfortably. And I'm
Yeah,
running slowly, uncomfortably, and I don't
I
like it.
yeah, but I think you're also a little bit your own fucking worst enemy though, James, because like you give amazing advice as a coach. And when anyone asks you questions or asks you for advice and stuff, you've got brilliant words of wisdom, and that's awesome. But when it comes to yourself, you're just like, I don't know, you like it's like you're punishing yourself. It's like I'm just gonna fucking run fast, stupid fucking hip. And it's like runs aren't punishment. Chill the
Honestly,
fuck out a little bit.
you took the words out of my mouth. There are moments when I'm running where I want to just run so it hurts so I can teach my body a lesson.
Yeah, but like that's a dick
Insane.
move, dude.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And yes, nobody listened to me. And if one of my athletes was saying this to me, I'd be like,
Mate,
mate, I think
calm
we
the
need to
fuck
get you some
down.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of Let's Be Honest. Shall we go and put some music on and forget about it?
Turn it up.
That'll probably do, won't it?
Absolutely. I've got such a banger for this week.
Well, I think you should go first. Otherwise, my negativity from the previous section is just going to bleed straight into this one.
Oh no, have you got like some really rubbish kind of country music, whiny? Oh, dude, you're gonna ruin the playlist.
Hit us though. Hit us.
Okay, so this is really cool. Like, so last week I was doing a lot of writing, and I was running out of non-lyric music to listen to, and I wanted something that was a bit kind of psycho and insane because I was writing quite a messy battle scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I rediscovered "Higher State of Consciousness" by Josh Winks.
Nice.
Yeah, I used
Nice.
to love that track, and I'd completely forgotten about it. And it is, oh, it's quite insane.
Did
Yeah,
it take you to the level you needed for that writing
it
experience?
did. It did. It took me to a very higher state of consciousness, and I ended up massacring hundreds and hundreds of people in the most splattergle way I could think of. It was wicked.
Have I died yet?
No, not yet. I'm not. I'm on a different storyline. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a shame.
Different storyline. Yeah.
I want to know when it happens.
But yeah, it was really, really cool. And it's such a cool track. And then I took it out when I went for my speeds. And yeah, it works. If you need to run quickly, higher state of consciousness, that'll do it.
That'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
We will add it to the playlist.
Cool.
Now, mine, I wanted something to capture the lung burning sensations I've been feeling for the last couple of weeks. So I went for a song called Lungs by Townes Van Zandt.
Oh my God, the whole thing sounds awful.
From the 1960s, his 1969 self-titled album, Townes Van Zandt. And the first line from the song is, "Won't you lend your lungs to me? Mine are collapsing," which pretty much sums up how I've been feeling this week.
Ugh, that sounds like a really depressing song.
Yeah, a little bit. It's been a tough week. I've struggled with this one. But, we all come out the other side, don't we?
You should have listened to upbeat stuff to bring you out of the funk.
Indeed, absolutely. But yeah, we'll add that to the playlist alongside. Did you notice that Jo's choice was already on the playlist?
I did not, actually.
You see. And being that she'd prefaced it with, "I don't listen to much music," and had a good old think and come up with that song, I didn't want to interject with that's already on there. Come up with another one. So I thought we'd just, heard that would be her choice and the previous person's choice.
Okay. So when you mean it was already on there, you mean somebody else had picked it? Not
somebody else.
You've already put it on the Spotify playlist before this episode.
No, somebody else had already picked it. Yeah.
What did she choose? I've totally forgotten.
"Running Up That Hill" by Kate Bush.
That's the Badger. Yeah, I thought when she said it, actually, I did wonder if it was already on there.
It's our first repeat pick that we've had.
No, it's not, because was it John?
Oh yeah, John.
Who the fuck is John?
Who the fuck is John? He nailed
John
the first.
Welland. He nailed both of us.
Randomly nailed the first two that both of us put on.
Yeah, but I suppose
Such
now,
a surreal moment.
After 1 billion episodes that we've done, it's bound to happen now. It's bound to start happening now, isn't it?
22.
Well,
that's not
6 of 1.
There are many more songs in the world than 22.
No, because on the thingy, each episode there's at least 3 songs that we pick. You pick one, I pick one, and the guest picks one.
That's true.
Yes.
So we're up to
22
66.
times 3.
So there are many more songs in the world than 66.
Yeah, but like not good ones to run to.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think that's probably about it from us, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah.
So if you want to find out more, head to www.getoutinit.events. There's loads of info on there, and you can sign up for the newsletter, download the personal development friend, and book a free consultation with us to discuss your health and fitness needs and a roadmap we can help you put in place to get you to where you want to be. If you liked the show, please head over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It's really, really helpful. It helps that algorithm.
And then we will give you some on-air listener love for doing just that.
We certainly will, because the plea that I put at the start of the episode last week has resulted in 0 reviews.
So nobody wants our love.
Get your reviews on there and you will get a shout out on the pod. Cheerio.
Bye.
Thanks for hitting the trails with us this week. We'll meet you back here next Monday for more news, more views, more nature.
All the links for our socials are in the show notes. Find and follow us on Facebook, Insta, YouTube and Twitter. You can subscribe to our newsletter from our website for all the latest updates and camp plans. You get a fun free gift when you sign up.
Leave a review on your podcast app. It's really easy and really helps us out.
And if you've got any friends who could do with getting out in it, then bring them along to next week's outdoor adventure. We'd love to have you all with us.
Catch you next week. Cheerio.